म्यूट के देगला
Good afternoon, everyone. Dr. Anurag, you have logged in? Dr. Swagata? Dr. Swagataka? Logged in?
Am I audible, sir?
Yes, yes, you are.
We'll start the meeting soon, sir.
Dr. Anurag has logged in.
Yes, sir. Anurag sir is there.
I can't see
Anurag sir
him.
is there.
Yes, I can see him now.
Yes. Aman sir, shall we start the event?
Sure.
Yes, sir. So, good afternoon, one and all. So, to start the program, when you have eliminated the impossible, whatever remains, however improbable, must be the truth. This is the famous Sherlock Holmes dialogue, and this is the principle of forensic odontology. On behalf of Department of Oral Pathology and Microbiology, Institute of Dental Sciences, Shiksha Anusandhan deemed to be university, I, Dr. Swagatika, would take the pleasure of welcoming all the participants here in this platform. Now, I would like to request Dr. Neeta Mohanty, Dean and Head of the Department, to welcome the speaker, Dr. Aman Chowdhry, and speak a few words on this event. Ma'am, over to you, ma'am.
Very good afternoon, dear all. I welcome. Am I audible to all?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. You're audible.
A very good afternoon and welcome, dear all, to this webinar today, organized by the Department of Oral and Maxillofacial Pathology, Institute of Dental Sciences, Shiksha Anusandhan deemed to be university. The topic today on forensic odontology, a paradigm shift towards interdisciplinary approach by none other than Professor Aman Chowdhry, Department of Oral Pathology, Jamia Millia Islamia University, New Delhi. Forensic odontology is a very interesting and intriguing branch. That's the reason today all our BDS, MDS faculties, our Medical Institute of Medical Sciences and some hospital forensic department, and a large number of participants who have registered today for this mega webinar organized by our department. I'm sure it will be a very interesting and enriching experience for all of us here today. Thank you, Dr. Aman. I welcome you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Yeah. And thank you, Dr. Anurag and Dr. Swagatika for making this possible, and the Department of Oral Pathology for making this possible. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. I'm honored to introduce Dr. Aman Chowdhry, one among very few eminent forensic odontologists of India. He is currently working as professor at Department of Oral Pathology, Faculty of Dentistry, Jamia Millia Islamia University, New Delhi. Since 2004, after completion of his MDS from Pune, he has been actively involved in academics and research. Dr. Aman is a fellow of Indian Board of Forensic Odontology. He has been trained in 3D and 2D forensic reconstruction at Central Forensic Science Laboratory, Chandigarh, and 3D computerized forensic reconstruction from the very famous University of Germany, University of Tübingen. He is founder secretary of Indian Association of Craniofacial Identification and is Secretary General of Indo-Pacific Academy of Forensic Odontology. He has authored as well as co-authored several papers in peer-reviewed international and national journals. He has also traveled to around the globe for his academic ventures and passion for interdisciplinary approach towards forensic as well as allied sciences. Now over to sir. We are all excited to hear from you, sir. Over to you, sir.
Okay. Thank you, Swadipaka and Madam Principal Ma'am for giving me chance to speak, especially Dr. Anurag, who happens to be my senior from Bharati Vidyapeeth as well. So I'm glad that everybody has interest in such a novel and naive subject. So before I start, I request everyone to really keep yourself muted so that we can proceed uninterrupted for everyone. So starting with you're going live, you're being recorded. So I expect decorum to be maintained. Everybody you're live on YouTube as well. So you can put your questions there, Dr. Swagitaka, and the team will be asking questions later on. We can put, so everybody is on mute right now. So today's live is on paradigm shift towards interdisciplinary approach. So we are going to be, I hope everybody's, I mean, everybody can hear me. So today what we are going to be talking is about forensic odontology and how every branch, I see many perio, pedo, ortho people logging in today. So how they can contribute towards this webinar, how they can learn from this branch will be the motto of this theme of this talk today. I will be failing in my duty if I do not mention people behind me, people in front of me, people at side of me who have been developing and working around me and contributing towards the science which we work in. Professor Jasuja, who was in 2014 with, he associated with us, and from then we have been not organizing workshops as well as other things we are doing academically together. He happens to be in the forensic science field. Then is Professor Priyanka Kapoor, partner in crime. Most of the things I take support in academic work from her. She's an orthodontist by profession in my college only, and has a famous chart under her name, that is DACC chart, which we promote in our workshops. Then is Professor Deepika Poblani. Now she is an oral pathologist. She helps us in dental anatomy and anthropology things. She is an oral pathologist. So workshop today, what we are going to learn today, what workflow will be there. First, in the lecture, we are going to learn about forensic odontology, an overview. We are going to develop what all are there, how we go about, what all aspects are there, what all we can learn from this branch, which happens to be very new and very few people are doing that, because trained, I can name on fingertips, which are trained from abroad. Myself, I am also not trained in forensic odontology from abroad. I have worked under someone, and then I have gone abroad and trained myself in a separate branch, that is forensic facial approximation, which happens to be a sub branch as well. We take a little bit help of forensic odontology in that as well. So first hand, then will be the first hand practical experience, which I will share of my journey. And last, what we will share is the road ahead, vacancies, how in your branch you can contribute. There will be people who would like to ask questions. They can ask later on after that. So talking about forensic odontology, an overview first. Forensic odontology as a word, suggests it is relating to application of science that decide question arising from civil and criminal litigation. So it is the application of dental and oral and para-oral knowledge to civil and criminal matters. So it was derived from the word forum, forensis, that means legal proceedings, or originally of forum as the place of discussion. So that exactly is the meaning of the mid 17th century Latin, that is derived from that word. So a typical course which is designed for forensic odontology will have these facets which are there, these edge which are there. I have added the last one, that is paleodontology, but rest of them have been static since years now. They have been there since years now, that you need to know the history, science, age estimation, sex determination, ethnicity, bite mark. We will be discussing many of them today. So forensic odontologist is involved in dental record maintenance, in identification of dead bodies, in profiling, that is deriving sex, ethnicity, and age from skeletal remains that can be craniofacial structures, that is the skull, or from the teeth. Then is the age estimation from the teeth, that this is a major part of it. Then there are bite mark, rugae, and lip print analysis. India is leading in rugae and lip print analysis in publication matters. So much so that we were invited, me and Dr. Priyanka were invited for an international IFS chapter to write on rugae and rugoscopy and lip print analysis. I think rugoscopy, yes, and lip print is for another chapter. So legal responsibility is that you can, there are litigation cases against the dentist. People are earning a lot abroad in these forensic odontology, where litigations are put against the dentist, because there the thing is very, very, very sound. Insurance system is there. So why teeth? Firstly, because I've really put so much of information. I don't look at it. Just listen me out. Why do we need teeth for forensic? Why we are using teeth for it? Because it is the hardest tissue one. Second, they can cause trauma. They are very unique. No mouth is identical, and they can be source of DNA. So these all reasons are there why a tooth can be used for forensic analysis. And there is a definition by Acharya and Taylor, again taken from Schaefer's. That book is having, the chapter is a mini book of forensic odontology. I recommend you my book also. So those people who are interested should go about reading it. So dental, fingerprint, and DNA. What is most important about this? That it withstands the decomposition, heat, and trauma. So dental can be very vital. No wonder DNA has been extracted from mummies even. There have been cases where thousands of years the DNA has been preserved, whereas fingerprint and DNA is almost difficult. It is destroyed by heat and chemicals. So you have to keep in mind that tooth can play a vital role in cases of identification. I will be failing in my duty when I talk about history. I don't talk about Oscar Amida, whatever. I mean, like, it's a French pronunciation, but what here is that he is the person who charted down was the first one. His PhD was a book which is still available. It is still there. And when you visit France, you should Google him out, and you'll know more about him. He's the person who pioneered this science by charting of dentistry. Now, this is the history brief. Like, it is taken from my book only, where I have compiled it right from 66 AD to 2012, when the New Delhi gang rape of Nirbhaya took place. So how you must be watching Delhi Crime. It is having Netflix Delhi Crime, so it is having all the details, many details of the case itself. So here, Jayachand, how he was executed by Muhammad Gauri. His artificial teeth were identified, right from Zaul Haq to I think even Hitler. So Hitler was later on confirmed, his death was confirmed later on. So you have loads and loads of identification happening. Even Saddam Hussein, and in case of Rajiv Gandhi assassination, from the pinna of the ear where he was identified. Even Virappan by Rajiv Gandhi was not from the pinna. Virappan was from pinna of the ear where he was identified. So a lot of identifications have taken place in the craniofacial structures. So those who want to be Sherlock Holmes should read about it. You will really find it interesting, because you have a scientific basis also of how anatomical structures do work. So I suppose you should go about reading first before putting your hand into forensic odontology as such. So can you identify them? One of the world's most powerful man in the center. Very easy to identify, Obama. Why? Because you could see the face. How about if I give you this? No way, you will not be. But we do recognize using them. And what about if I give you this? Just teeth, fragments, skull part. Then you have to identify. And that's where the science comes into picture, where the specialization of yours in the field comes into picture. ID from teeth. Very important to establish ID from teeth, because they will be sustaining injuries. I will show you in the cases how they have been used. So no record found. India is a state where people forge, people don't maintain records because of the income tax purpose. They don't show the correct records. They don't maintain it for years. They have lack of space. They do not digitalize. So many difficulties in these records. So what you do is, in dental identification procedure, either you have a comparative or you have reconstruction. If you have comparative, you should have an ante-mortem record of the dead. Whereas in reconstruction, you do not have a ante-mortem record. You don't get, like in a close disaster, where intermingling of bodies is there. You cannot. You tend to have less of records and very difficult. So you have to do dental profiling, narrow the search of an individual for that. So this is a chart. This is a odontogram in which we enter the ante-mortem and post-mortem record. Once the red and the yellow match, that means the body is correct. So one will be of the dead body, and one will be the records which we extract from the dentist or from somewhere else or from his house. We get the record and we fill in. If these two match, that means the body is correct, right? So it's body is 4 hours old or 4 days old. The body tends to putrefy, so you will not be able to identify. So what you do is, you tend to open it. There are various ways of opening the mouth, and then you tend to identify the body. There is positive, possible, insufficient, and exclusion. That is how ABFO defines the conclusions of. So whether it is skull, whether it is teeth. So what we will be doing is, we will be doing dental profiling and skull profiling. We'll be learning it. So what we do in profiling is establishing ethnicity, age, and sex from the teeth. Whereas in skull, we'll be doing ethnicity, age, and sex from the skull, from the parts of the skull or skull. So race and ethnicity from teeth. This is the person responsible for it. One of the pioneers, Richard Scott and Christy G. Turner. He's the person who is no more. I mean, Christy G. Turner is no more. 50 years they recently completed. I happen to be, somehow communicating with him, and my project got accepted, and we have ASUDR's caste system, which is there. If you see, this is called as Arizona, the right caste which are there. It is very simple. You have a caste of an individual, you match it with this, and how much close he is to either Negroid, Mongoloid, or Negroid, Mongoloid, or Caucasian population. So you can derive how much. We are a heterogeneous, we will get a somewhere middle result. But if he's a Caucasian, if he's a Negroid, it will be very close to that. So these are the traits. So now you know, when you're taught in dental anatomy, dental histology, winging, shoveling, cusp of carabli, they had importance. They had a lot of importance in anthropology, as well as dental anthropology, as well as in cases of ethnicity determination from teeth. So this I have charted down. This will go live from your. I will give the video to your college, and then this will be put up, so you can know just by teeth you can derive the race of an individual. Because Mongoloid race, say from Nepal, is there, and then there'll be more dominant features of a Negroid or a Dravidian race. Then there'll be mixed Caucasian in the north. So we are a heterogeneous group in India. So how close you are in your population can be derived, and the data can be generated in your end, at your end. Like there can be a Bhubaneswar based study. Then age from teeth. We are a country where forging of age is very, very done. It's very, very prevalent. Whether it is whether you talk about gang rape of Nirbhaya, where a person, the convicted, got escaped, because our law is like that. There is a specific age for marriage. There is a specific age even for determining a government. You cannot vote. Then there is an age of labor. You cannot work beyond that, and there are few labors which cannot be employed during a certain age. So India is strict about it, and there are strict laws about it. And age determination is very, very huge problem in India, because people are not the record maintenance is not there. So even in cricket, you see this is one of the thing which is recent. So 2015 one. So people have been forging age. There have been one case very recently where a person got identified by his hair of the of his hand, because he had forged being a old person. So you can search it out. So much prevalent, because we are not maintaining age properly on this, in the urban, even rural areas. So urban and rural areas. So it's not happening, because people are not registering properly. In 2011 will be the census again. So let's see what happens, how it is done. Now we have I just said that we have a sports quota, marriage, child labor, rape. You cannot be convicted. So there are various ways in which one of the most specific one is the Red Stain method, which is you should really read about that. Then what are the types of age? Dental age, radiographic age, sexual age, mental age, and chronological age. Now this chronological age has to be compared with dental age. The error which you get is the scientific error which you are getting. How much is your error with the method which you are using, which can be various methods have been derived. We will learn about it. In radiographic, we have x-rays of wrist, sonography, x-rays of shoulder, pelvic girdle, medial clavicle. So these are the various things which are there. You can go about. We'll not go into the detail of radiographic. It is beyond this scope of the lecture, but definitely dental radiography a little bit we'll go through. Then sexual age is again the maturity, the puberty itself causes lots of changes in female, the opening of the pelvic. There are various changes which take place in the female. So sexual age is there. Then there is a mental age also. I feel that we need to learn a lot about the age estimation. Here the scope is about dental age estimation. So typical medical board will have a dentist, radiologist, and a general physician. You will see that dentist is kept very, very importantly here, because he, just by seeing a Shar Mosler's thing, is able to tell what is the age. We learn in pedo, we learn in ortho, we learn in dental anatomy. By just seeing a cast, we tell the age. What is the age of the cast? Cast is what? Cast is patient. So it is very easy to really derive the age from this task. So he's very much a part of it. For a dentist, Even these are the types of age. If you see ugly duckling stage, 8 erupting, these are the puzzles which we solve every day, and we tell that his canine is erupting, I think 11, 12, okay. Ugly duckling stage 11 to 13, 8 to 13, transitional dentition, pericornitis, impacted molar, so many things we derive from here, exfoliation and eruption, but that is only during the formation as well as the eruption. Once he crosses 21, a dentist by dental age estimation becomes very tough, because all the changes, maturity has taken place. Then when we go through wear and tear, and that's how Gustafson's principle, Gustafson's 6 method were introduced for age estimation. We'll just read about it. I'll take you to the water, but drinking is your thing. You have to drink yourself. I'll take you to the well. You have to drink yourself. So I'll just introduce you many things today. People who are noting can note. Video will be there. You can replay it. But this is totally up to you, because lots of open horizons for every branch is there. Even undergraduate is there. This is the Shawl Moslers. Everybody uses that so very often. Calcification के बेस पे बता देते हैं, स्टेज के बेस पे बता देते हैं. We tell the age on the basis of just looking at it. तो क्या हुआ? What are we doing? We are doing so much like a Facebook celebrity we look like. This is the tooth system. These are the tooth erupted. These are the thing. And what is in the patient? Though if they match, we call him that this person is this age. So that's what happens in Facebook lookalike. We match it, and how much your face is matching, 80%, 90% with someone. So that's one of the thing, the age estimation when I'm teaching to the students. So based on dentition, DAE methods, dental age estimation methods can be classified on the basis of formation of dentition and adult dentition. So based on the technique, they can be clinical, radiographic, or histological. So these are the classification methods of DAE, that is the dental age estimation. It can be forming or adult, visual, radiographic, or histological. 3 phases are there for DAE, 3 phases being prenatal, neonatal, and early postnatal. And children, adolescent, and adults. That's how you can divide the dental age estimation methods, because prenatal will have some, neonatal will have some other ways of, like one of them I will tell you, that is neonatal line, which you talk about. I never knew. I had been teaching for 13 years. I never knew that it has got application in forensics, because it will tell you it is a stillborn or not. The baby which was born was a stillborn or was killed in a country where female feticide is so often. If you see the Haryana ratio, I shouldn't be taking the name of the state, but I'm putting on record the skewed ratio, which is there, 8 on 10, maybe even less, is in a state where women are worshipped. Even we have Ma Durga, we have so many, and their killings are happening for the women. So I did not know. I have seen feticides. I have seen myself visiting a mortuary. So it should be every dentist should be aware that that learning of neonatal line, which an oral pathologist teaches in dental anatomy, had some value. Had some value. Why? That's why it was asked, and it has become so special to me. I put it so very often in the examinations now. Based on the technique used, clinical, radiographic, and histological. Clinical, आपको सिखाने की कोई ज़रूरत नहीं है. You are already doing it in your clinics, or maybe you will learn it in your curriculum. Radiographic, again, you will learn, but radiographic itself will have not only Shaw's and Mosler, but I will tell you there are other methods also. Camry, there are methods of the Demergian, and from that we have derived a chart also. Dr. Priyanka, which I showed you, my team member has derived a chart even on it. So we recommend lots of things. Then there is a histological biochemical methods which are there. I have totally compiled them and put it up. And those who are interested can do research on any of these. They are all available, whether it is histological method, whether it is modified Demergian method, whether it is Gustafson, Johnson's root transparency method, cementum annulation methods, asparatic acid methods, radioactive carbon-14. Now, these are a little expensive ones. but rest of them can be easily tried. The horizon is open, and you can have lots of publications. And mind you, I'll be showing you few publications in the maybe in the latter half of the of my presentation, where you will be amazed that even a second-year-old was a second year student was even involved, and she got employment because of her extremely good publications with Dr. Priyanka for DAECC chart, which I'm talking about. She got a job in DRDO. So you can imagine, these are in an era where people complained of vacancies, they complained there is unemployment in dentistry. These can play a very vital role, as ICMR and Red Cross. They all are requiring people for mass disaster evaluations. So a lot of scope. I will talk in the end as well. So Gustafson method is using those 6, that is attrition, secondary deposition, apical migration, cemental apposition, root resorption, and root dentine transferency. Only problem is you have to extract teeth, make it thin, and then you have to work on it. Nobody will allow you. So it is only done in dead bodies. It cannot be done on living live individuals. Whereas dentine transparency again is done on a not done on a these are not applicable. Whereas Camry's methods and Demerjian methods can be used easily on a OPG or an X-ray, where tooth to pulp ratio can be derived and can be worked upon. Neonatal line, I just mentioned. It can tell you that is an exaggerated incremental line, which tells you that there was a change in environment. So you need to learn why it was there. So it can tell you whether it was stillborn, or if you don't find a neonatal line, it will tell you that there was a stillborn, the nil. Then keep that in mind, that you don't have to be a Sherlock Holmes at specific age. You will tell you become. There are people who are become over ambitious and instead of giving a age range, they tell he's a 5-year-old, he's a 7-year-old. Always give whenever even a cast is given to you, always write a range. Do not write it is a 5-year-old seeing a cast, 7-year-old. It cannot be that way. It cannot be. And moreover, the age system which you are learning, the age system, the Shaw's and Mosler is more towards European and Caucasian population. Here we are 5 feet 5 inch. I'm 5 feet 5, and they are 6 feet and above. We are mini size of them. So they're even the eruption pattern and the nutrition pattern is different. They're even you have to keep in mind that we learn from European books. Nobody is having a coral red, coral pink gingiva. We have a little of magentish. So just modify as per or you generate your own data by in your own colleges. Generate data, what all you are seeing, what is the normal at your population, because India being heterogeneous, every 40 kilometers the fooding habits, the language, the environment, the climate changes. So keep in mind, you have a lot of scope for generating data. Sex determination from teeth. Even sex plays a very important role in the cases of like canine. They are very much there. They can derive the age of an individual. So you have to keep in mind that bar bodies or expression of amelogenin protein, dental dimensions, morphology, these can be very important when the cranial bones are unavailable. Metric analysis can be there. There have been sexual dimorphism is very, very prominent in canines, in the science, in the intercanine distance contribution, or the size, even the metric thing. So there are lots of scope of research in determining age. Then India is a country where bar bodies can be used. Now the problem is that we tend to misuse. That's the reason it is banned in Indian setup. Okay, or you're not allowed to derive age. Sex. So ID from skull. Again, same 3 things: ethnicity, sex, and age. Many of you are first year, second year. You have recently learned about the anatomy of the skull, the ethnicity, sex, and age. It will be a cakewalk for you to really understand it. Ethnicity from skull: Caucasian, Negroid, and Mongoloid. Now, Caucasian have a longer and a more narrow face. Negroid have a wide face and a short face, and mongoloid have a flat chapta face. It's a flat face. It's not having any features, much of these features. Broadly, even the nasal bridge, the lower face, how they are happening, you should keep in mind then when you're writing. So these are 98% accuracy is there in a Caucasian, Mongoloid, and Negroid faces. This is how we determine. It might be handy, like if a person comes from say China, who meets with an accident and gets meets in disaster. So it would be easy for you if you are amongst 50 people identifying a mongoloid body. So you have to know the cephalic index. The cephalic index, you should know how it is derived. Then there is a cranial index which is there. So we use orthodontist so very often in my reconstructions in that, because the very reason why an orthodontist is essential part is this, that she or he has immense knowledge about the cranial and the cephalic, as well as the movement of the teeth, as well as the growth pattern. These are the excellent features which are there in their curriculum. So they should be included, I recommend, in every person who is doing forensic odontology. It becomes a blessing when you are working on the cases or designing the research. So facial index, then again, cranial index I just mentioned. Then I mentioned cephalic index. Then there is a facial index. So type of face. This is how long and a thin and a short and a broad and a narrow face, how it appears. So a oligocephalic or a straight face or a mongoloid face or a negroid face will appear. I'm not going much in detail of each one of them, but you should know that even malocclusion is very problematic. Prognathism is a feature which is of negroid origin, with much of a negroid appearance is there if there is a bimax protrusion. And then you should know about how the nasal eye. There is a separate lecture which can happen on reconstruction where we derive ethnicity from anthropological aspects as well. So you need to tune in if somebody wants to really learn about the anatomy. So long, narrow face, sloping orbits, pear shape, high nasal openings. Caucasian. Broad, short face, rounded orbits, flared nasal opening, mongoloid. Broad face, rectangular orbit, wide nasal chamber, negroid. So sex determination. Now, Williams and Rogers have given 6 traits. 94% accurate they are for mastoid, supraorbital ridges, and architecture of the teeth, which is there. So male and female. These are the general features. What are there for determination of sex? Mandible also can play a very important role, especially the angles and the gonial angle which is there. It is obtuse or it is more obtuse. So that will determine the condyles, larger, smaller, squarish. You need, 95 times you will be correct. The styloid process, the rocking of the skull, these all will be the features to determine the sex from the skull and the mandible. Here I would like to mention we have a chapter, application of craniofacial osteology and archaeology in forensic odontology. I recommend you to, there'll be more of talking about my book in the end as well. So this is a chapter which is there. Professor Jasuja, Professor Priyanka, Professor myself are part of this chapter. Go about reading it. Then there is age from the skull. Now these you learned in anatomy in first year, how at what age these sutures fuse. What you should understand the difference, how a fused and an unfused suture looks like. How does a calcification appear like. So you have to keep in mind that the science which you learned in first year will play a very important role. I can see around 100 participants right now here and around 150 on live chat which is there. So we are around and 50 of them more odd logged in. So around 300 people we are looking at the first years. So you try and understand the things which we learned in first year are very, very important during what we learned in first year are applicable here, because I tend to go back again to BD Chaurasia as well as various anatomy books with my own markings of first year, that I tend to learn about the lambdoid and the sigmoid sutures which are there, how, and they determine the age. So those are very important. So it will be difficult for me to mute anyone. Please keep yourself mute. I do not want to name the person, so please, it will be very embarrassing. Please do not unmute yourself without permission. So sutures which are there. Now various ages which are there. So involve an anthropologist when you are deriving age, or learn yourself. Attend lectures from stalwarts who are great in bone. YouTube videos can be handy here. Deriving, what suture fuses at what age becomes very handy while doing reconstruction of an identity from skull. So these are the goniometer, female, old or young, etc., etc. Now these can be very, very informative studies. Research can happen on these. So mental foramen, my favorite. You can derive from mental foramen keeps on migrating upwards. It is not actually upward. It is actually a relative thing, because you tend to lose the allular ridge. But for a person who's an anthropologist, he feels that it is moving upward. He will not understand there is something called as bone loss, which is happening upward, and there is a vertical height which is lost. So the mental foramen appears to be moving upward, towards the border. Whereas when it was young, as child, it was towards the border of the mandible, which was there. Now it is at the border of the tooth, tooth line, which is there. So that way it migrates upward, or we can say, that's how a mental foramen migration takes place. Talking about dental profiling and skull profiling, I'll be failing in my duty if I don't tell you one of my fashions, again, which developed as forensic photography. Forensic photography starts and ends with this device, which should be there. Not only a good camera, you should have this 1100 to 5000. This is a ABFO, that is American Board of Forensic Odontology scale, which should be kept next to a bite mark or next to a tooth which is derived, or next to a skull fragment. This will help in removing distortion. The two shots can be taken. One is a broad, where you, without the scale, you tend to know that this is the bite mark is here. So you take a broader one, so you come to know the anatomical position, and then you go the closer one, that is, and keeping the scale next to it. Scale is kept to remove distortion. The circle which you see in the center is to remove the distortion, and the overall the gray marking. Now Dr. Emilio has derived a calorimetric scale, which is there, that tells the temperature also. So keep in mind, a lot of studies are happening around the globe. Your picture which is there, like I was sent a picture from I'll not name the place, because you'll come to know what a picture was sent to me to tell the to identify and give an opinion. I said that point and shoot fine. You have clicked the picture, point and shoot fine. But that is not exactly how a camera should be. You take a better camera. Now he takes a better camera and clicks from anywhere. It should be 90-degree vertical. Fine. Now again, it is of no use to me, because there is no relative thing which is. So I told him to keep $1 or a rupee next to it, 5 rupees, 10 rupees coin next to it, so that the circle which you are seeing is working like that. If you keep a coin next to it, it will, or a circular thing that can be a bottle cap, that can be used as a round surface. So whenever you are clicking, keep a round relative thing and a scale next to it, so that it becomes very easy for us to really make it life size and remove distortion. So these two things can be done only if you keep a scale next to it, or because we are equipped to make it life size and remove distortion. But that can only happen if you are having a relative thing kept next to it. Picture, just a simple. There are people who are orthodontists here. They are much more equipped than me in case of clicking pictures. They are excellent equipped in this, but I will just touch it. How to go about. You have a aperture, shutter, and a setting speed, which is there. A setting of ISO, which is there. These three things you play. If you know more than half of photography. I say more than half only. So many of us are on the fool's mode only, automatic mode. We buy a DSLR of 1 lakh, 2 lakh, and put it on a fool's mode, and then click pictures. What is the fun? Why did you buy a picture? Why did you buy such a heavy you paid so much not for a fool's mode. So you play with the aperture, you play with the shutter speed and ISO. Let's talk more about it. Aperture. Now aperture is always mentioned as f/2. The bigger the number, the smaller the aperture. Bigger the small number of the ratio. So f/2, the aperture is wide. So what will happen? There will be a brighter picture because more light can enter. The only problem is you will have a bokeh effect, that is shallow. Next to it, if the upper picture which you see of the plant, that is f2.8. So f2.8 is having the closer thing is brighter and more clearer, and the backside thing is not clearer. So that is bokeh effect. You were seen in marriage photography. There is light behind, and the couple is putting varmala on them. So what happens in the back is the bokeh effect. You take a big bazooka, open it to the maximum, and then click a picture. So what you will have is the cleaner picture nearby, but you can do with the software also, but that will not be that clear as a DSLR does. Small aperture, again a darker picture, and full depth picture will be there. In forensics, we are doing still photography only. You will not run behind the criminal and take a photography, do photographs. So you are learning not wildlife photography here. You are learning still photography. You're not doing sports photography here. You are doing this because you will be clicking a static thing. So static is manageable. Little bit of knowledge, good use of camera can produce good results. Everybody is buying 1 lakh iPhone, excellent camera, excellent features, right from OnePlus to, these are having excellent features of camera itself. But I recommend DSLR also because you can play with it if you're passionate about. But you can do with the regular cameras as well. So shutter speed, faster it is, the darker the picture will be, less blur it will be, because the person is moving. Here it is not required because the person is not moving. So you will keep the shutter in the middle part, and a brighter picture will come. ISO, set it up anything above 400. Don't go below 400, you will be grainy. So this is a cheat code, and the below which you see is picture taken just outside my department. You can see the behind buildings are not that visible because the lens was totally opened, and clarity of skull and the structures which are nearby is seen. That's what is done in bite marks also. You open the thing, open the lens as much as possible, and then click a picture. Bite mark analysis. Now, also called by some as junk science. Need to learn about it. If you're not equipped, you can really be in trouble. Our law is like that. 20 convicts can escape, but not a single innocent should go behind bar. Keep that in mind. Don't try to be very, very ambitious and very, very, giving reports of there are, cases where people have been behind bars for 10, 15 years just because of overzealous reporting. So tooth mark, arch mark, bite mark. So if I ask you, this is what kind of a bite mark is it? This is not an animal. This is not a human bite mark. If you see two indentations which are there of the small, this is a snake bite which is there. So this is a self-inflicted bite mark of mine on my hand. So you can know this is not exactly how a picture is taken. This is how a picture is taken. As I said, a bigger to know the anatomical position, and the second one will be the close one, the gross and the macro view. That's how you take a picture of a bite mark, 2 pictures, to know the anatomy as well as to know the detailing. Again, a lot of management can be done. Now you can play, that's how bite mark are done. This is actually I did it purposefully, that I am standing in metro and then I change my background, and that's what you are doing in bite mark analysis as well. So what you do is you tend to make an inlay of the bite. You tend to make an inlay on Adobe Photoshop and then keep it on the cast and match it. And when they match, that means the suspect is perfectly, like that, the perfect match is there. Still, if you are in doubt a little bit, you should know the physics behind it, the movement behind it. The lower jaw, we are not crocodile, our upper jaw will move. Our lower jaw is moving. So we tend to slip. We will have a broader slip marks which are there. So keep in mind the mechanics also when you are doing a bite mark. I'll not beyond scope to really teach you bite mark in a 1 hour lecture along with so many things. Keep in mind, we can derive DNA from the bite mark. My advice, many of you will be posted as dentist. If a bite mark reports to you, don't be in a hurry to really take pictures and all. Most importantly, you should give the first aid as well. Don't make him or her go through trauma by not suturing. Just take good pictures and if records possible, and tetanus shot and all those for which she came for. Remember, you took oath for being a doctor, not being a Sherlock Holmes. That is a secondary thing. So primary aim is that thou shall not harm. So do not end up harming the patient which has trusted you and came to you, or maybe he has been referred by the police authorities to you. So don't end up troubling the patient, and which might lead to disability or some kind of trouble, amputation maybe. This is a double swab technique of taking a swab. How to take a swab from for DNA from bite mark. Double swab, taking the epithelial tissues. I hope everybody is not bored. We'll be going to something to the fun part as well, the journey part.
No, sir, not at all. We all are listening, sir.
Oh, great. I thought
No. We all are listening, sir. Great. Please carry on, sir.
So, talking about 2 methods. Method 1 of taking an impression. Many of prosthodontists are there. They'll be excited to hear that bite marks can be taken with the impression material. I have specifically taken out. I'll not even name them because last I read of dental material science was maybe 15 years back. So Dr. Anurag knows how well we were taught by Dr. Kulkarni for these material science which is there. So you can take a screenshot. You can go about reading about them. First aid, very important. As I said, prompt medical attention should be given. It is of the highest authority, highest priority which is there. Skin surface should be treated soon. You should be having first aid in your hospital for such cases, especially if it is a tertiary center or a government center which is there. Such things cannot be ignored. You can be really in trouble if you do not have where to report, how to report, and how to manage. Now we will be coming to easier part, that is chiloscopy and rugoscopy. Many research happening, many scope is there, a lot of them. I know lots of queries will be there in rugoscopy, chiloscopy as such. Just 5 minutes and we will finish it off. Just 5 minutes of yours. Chiloscopy. You will see so much work done till 2000 or 2000 के बाद सिर्फ इंडिया में काम हुआ, because जब सब लोग खत्म हो जाते हैं, then we start. Lots of data is there for Indian population specifically. Very easy. Sushi-Hashi, Suzuki classification is there. Easiest one, type 1 is radiating partial, the clear-cut grooves which are there. If you see the type 1, straight cuts which are there in the lips. So when you take a lip print, they are having, lip print can be anywhere. They can be latent. You can use you have seen people deriving from fingerprint. People are deriving from fingerprint also. So the same way you can derive from the lip also. On a glass mark is there. There are bromide powders which are there. You apply it and you get a lip print. So lip print, you take it. That is a negative thing you can take. And if they are having grooves straight down, then they are called as type 1. If they are going partial, they are type 2. If they are branched, They are type, type 1 dash tha. Type 2 is branched ones, the branched one, the forking one. Then there are intersective ones, that is a type 3. Then is the reticular part pattern, and fifth is unrecognized pattern, disarranged pattern. It will become very easy, you know, it is very easy. And then you divide the lip into 4 quadrants, as you know about the teeth, how we derive. So there is a left upper, right upper, right lower, and left lower. Quadrant 1, 2, 3, 4. And you will tell type 1, type 2, type 3 in these quadrants when your lip print comes to you. Very interesting. So upper one, the first one is vertical pattern, partial vertical pattern, branched pattern, the forking one which I said, the intersected pattern, and reticular pattern. And let me tell you, these all lip prints are from boys of my university. We have used and things we have used, volunteers, anybody, you can use it in your college. These do not require anything, no invasive process. Maybe a study can be designed, a pilot attempt can be done where what kind of a blood group, what kind of a lip pattern, and what kind of a rugae pattern is present in each of them in your class, which can be very helpful in deriving identity of an individual. Quadrant-wise division. I hope I am clear about chiloscopy. Read about it. I've just taken you to the well again. Read about it. Very interesting ones. Rugoscopy. Now, rugae are pattern seen on the midline of the hard palate. Now, this is one of the publications by Dr. Kapoor again. Now, she used 2 expansions of during the orthodontist plates which are there, expand, and tested that there are no changes in rugae for identification even after the expansion plate takes place. After the expansion even takes place in the hard palate. A very good study. Go about reading it. I have put the reference also. These are the various studies which has happened with me. One of them being establishing reliability of palatal rugae pattern in individual identification. Then is the transfer changes again, which I mentioned just now. And then is a simple rugoscopy chart. Now this is again how I was teaching undergraduates. I was teaching him or her these many classifications. Can you imagine? They had to learn these many when I am teaching. So I derived a simple chart where all these are amalgamated, and I got it published. Now this is available online and has been used by various people all over the globe. It has been verified. It has been published also. So go about introducing in your, because second year we are introducing oral pathology now. Many of them waste those times. So what we have done is we have started doing assignments on doing rugoscopy, chiloscopy on their own data and submitting. This is a chart, very easy to use. Position can be left or right, length of the rugae. We have numbered them, and we tell the length, whether it is primary, secondary, depending on if it is less than 0.2, 2 or more than 4. So that will be there. Then it is curved, straight or circular. Direction can be forward or backward, or unification can be that they are merged or converging or convex. So diverging, sorry. So you have to keep that in mind. You can go about reading about it, and it will be excellent. I recommend again undergraduate involvement. I'm a big fan of undergraduate involvement because they are gold mine of data. But don't be overzealous. Take permissions, take ethical clearances, then only touch. Material used to assess rugae pattern: magnifying glass, study models, pencil. These all can be used. This is a very simple setup. Don't require any investment. So easily you can go about studying rugoscopy. Numbering them, knowing the position. So types, diverging, converging, direction, shapes, advantage and disadvantage of palatoscopy and rugoscopy. My humble submission to the people who are attending is that there is nothing like a a lecture on forensic odontology. There is only a hands-on. I'm just taking you what all is available. You have to go yourself and study and learn about them, because these are very passionate zones which are unexplored, especially in a zone where I know only single person or two or three people who are actually working. I just know one of them being Jagdish Rajguru. I think he's in Bhubaneswar. So very few people are there actually active in your part. So the horizon is open. You can go about reading. Art and science. I'm not saying that there will not be people. I'm just saying very few people are there. Art and science. Now this is actually the passion work. Where I was introduced. Any forensic facial approximation is having composite imagery, image modifications, demonstrative evidence, and reconstructive. Now, if visual identification case is done here, and there are methods of 2D and 3D reconstruction. I'll be going into the reconstruction of 2D and 3D very soon. Here, I would like to mention there are specific skulls, specific data will be coming. I don't want anybody to click pictures, take a screenshot and put it on Facebook. Just maintain the dignity of the dead. We keep on doing them. How composite imagery happens. These are taken from net. Many of them are taken from net. Now, replication of skull. Now, this appears, for a outside person who is not from dental sciences, it will appear a rocket science. When they were teaching me, they were telling me about modeling wax. They were talking about alginate written on it, and they are saying, that is that's how we are going to teach you. A first year BDS person is knowing how a figure of 8 is there, what alginate is. They are knowing even the setting time, the hardening time, the etc. to derive. So they know how to replicate. If you see modeling wax, putting alginate, putting a plaster soaked, bandages, and you get a negative replica, and then you pour it in plaster. That's how you can replicate a skull. Simple. So there is a lot of blend of art and science. I used to do sketching. These are all sketched by me. So that's how I got introduced to this forensic facial approximation, which I'll be talking about that for next 5-7 minutes, and we'll finish and move to the part B of the lecture. We are already we have already finished 1 hour. So 15 minutes I'll take if the organizers allow to finish it off. Yes?
Yes, sir, sure.
Okay.
Please carry on, sir.
I've overshot, but maybe 5 minutes, 10 minutes I'll overshoot.
No problem, sir. No problem. Carry on, sir.
Okay. So cases referred, dowry burning, how you see how Adobe Photoshop has been used to really take it out. And this is again cases I have taken permission for, but I don't want anybody to mention them. I don't want to talk much about them. I've taken it off. But what I want to tell about them is that reconstruction happens. These reconstructions which took place were because I was little proficient, little good at computer, and I learned during my Indian Board of Forensic Odontology thing, where I learned that Adobe Photoshop can be used to cut and take it out. This phone which we use is a very powerful tool for it. There are various applications which are there where you can cut out the face. The person who was there at the mortuary was clicking obnoxious pictures, point and shoot. The Havaldar was having a primitive camera. I shouldn't be saying on record. He was clicking wrong pictures. All very difficult for me, for a layman to really understand. And then is where your smartness comes into picture. FFA. Now this has been there for years in Sheena Bora case, in various crimes, how rebuild has taken place. How rebuilding of the face from skull took place. That's how what I work on. Facial reconstruction refers to 3D creation of face. Objective is to use the framework of the face It can be done in a 2D manner or a 3D manner. A 2D is radiographic and graphical. 3D is manual and computerized. 3D manual I will show you just now, and there is computerized as well. So 3D manual is anatomical, anthropometrical, that is the American method, and then is a combined method. Then is a computerized method. So many of them are there. I am lucky to be working on haptic feedback, which I learned in Germany very recently, just before the lockdown, for which I had to suffer isolation as well. So very important that you should continue whatever you pick up. We'll start with a 2D. Nothing. You take a radiograph, life size it, take a print of it, keep a tracing sheet on it, and there are methods how to reconstruct them. Whereas if you talk about 3D reconstruction, it is Grasimov's, Gatlif's, and Neuv's method. I just mentioned you. Anatomical, anthropometrical, and combination. Exactly this. Grasimov's, Gatlif's, and Neuv. Now, this Grasimov's was the pioneer. Excellent. The only thing is you need to master it. Very difficult. Mouth, various methods of setting eye. There are 21 points, 10 being the midlines, and 11 being the bilateral ones. So here, what is important here, I think somebody needs to unmute. Okay. So we have, what we have here is midline and the lateral points which are there. So we have to keep in mind that these thickness points which are there, the tissue tags which are there, should be available for your own population. These are from Karen Taylor's, these 11 points. But for your population, it should be available so that a rebuilding can take place. You tend to keep these are from Caucasian data. Bhubaneswar will have different, Delhi will have different, Nepal will have different, South America will have different. So these will be the various points at which you need to have the thickness, and that can be derived only on CT, MRI, or probe method. Those thickness points of your population should be derived. That's where we tend to. Now I will come to the forensic facial thickness part, but you should know that these tags are put up and then reconstruction happens with clay, or if you click a picture, you can do it with the computer as well. And then you tend to match it with the individual. Now, facial soft tissue thickness. There are problems in cadavers, rubber disc, along with shoot, needle puncture. These are the methods. But here you have to damage. You will not be allowed to touch the body. Difficult. More accurate ones are MRI and CT. Mid-sagittal sections. Here, the breakthrough study will be this one, Dr. Daisy Sani and Dr. Sanjeev. I happen to work under Dr. Sanjeev and learn 2D, 3D reconstruction from him at Central Forensic Laboratory, Chandigarh. I'll be mentioning you my journey in next 5 minutes when I complete this. Various methods, facial aging, you should know, wrinkling, and these are the toys which we play with. Take home message, add. This is a publication by me where you should add a forensic odontologist or a dentist in a team of forensic facial approximation proposed by me. 3D world, you can do 3D scanning. There are various softwares available. You can take a 3D print. Second, which is a very minor part of this, is that my first-hand experience, how it has been we were in 2012, we introduced what was there was we obtained education skills by fellowship. Then we taught the undergraduates. We published scientific research. We disseminated knowledge by CDs and oral presentations and posters. There was a recognition of work, various academic presence and social presence took place. And then there was a translation of research that we solved cases, etc., etc. So training I achieved from IBFO, Patiala, that is Professor Jasuja again. Then I worked under Dr. Sanjeev, I just mentioned. Then is Tübingen, Germany, where I learned. This is Leuven, where I was lucky to, it's not Leuven, it's Croatia, where I was lucky. I went to Leuven for poster presentation, from where I went to Croatia to attend their anthropology department. Excellent experience. Here, photography was also, I clicked, this is metallurgy. This is just outside the Croatian dental school. Undergraduate teaching, I just mentioned, publishing scientific research, so many research. There is one of the books which we published in 2018. Publications happened from palatal rugae to image manipulation to comparative lip print, again rugoscopy, then the fellowship which I did, I got it published, then forensic facial approximation, then there was application of dental age. This was in the team which was working, which is already publishing by Vanshika Jain, second year student, Professor Sarkar, my department, Professor Priyanka Kapoor. Now this was DACC chart which they derived, and we were lucky to work on it. This is a scoping review which we worked upon. I think there is an unmute. Somebody is unmute again. God. Okay. Now this is a Leuven poster which I published. Dissemination of knowledge. This has been long. I've tried to do workshops on rugoscopy chart, DACC chart, workshop on forensic facial approximation. Around the globe we have traveled. This is Muradabad, Rishikesh, Subharti, Meerut, KJMU, Lucknow, Indonesia, ISDR Delhi, IAFO. This happens to be my guide, Professor Deshmukh, under whom I did oral pathology. In the center, in the gray, is Professor Camry. This is Professor Priyanka Kapoor. Now we are all partners in crime, all working together. Then there is this has happened in Kota, Rajasthan. This is CDC Ludhiana. Then this is the latest one where I am present right now in the webinar. These are various webinars, one of international webinars as well. Italy, Peru, many of them. Recognition. I was awarded best papers a couple of times, many times actually. Then moved on for academic responsibilities. I was elected for secretary, for joint secretary for NPEFO, then was founder member, general secretary for IACFI. Then I'm still an EC member for IAFO and elected general secretary recently on 20th November for INPEFO, Indo-Pacific Society of Forensic. Then I've tried to compile various newspaper cuttings where often if you do work, you are few cases I've just discussed. This is opinion asked for the teeth, as well as here what I want to highlight is this is one of the second cases. Here what I want to highlight is Dr. Kapoor's, that is an orthodontist thing sent to me, where I build up only because of the guidelines given. This is by the artist and myself, and the only problem is that you tend to close the case when you have such. This is one of the cases. Brief history is that 7-year-old skull was found in a tank in Darbhanga, and then later on reconstruction was done. Female or male DNA, from DNA we derived, and we tried to superimpose on the skull. The mother had been waiting for years. Imagine the plight. The mother is not going to stop waiting till dying day for the kid, till we tell her that this is the body, this is the skull, these are the remains. So very important to stop the cold, close the cold cases. Associations which are there, I encourage you to become member of many of them, whether it is POLFOC Peru, AFHOR, then it is Infodont, then there is IOFS, there is American Dental Association, there is INPEFO, then there is IFO. Many of them national and international associations working in these fields. Vacancies come up, people are saying, I have tried to read about them, what are the criteria, MD, PhD, whether it is Gujarat Forensic Sciences or whether it is MAIDS, that is Maulana Azad. So many things come. What I encourage is become passionate. It is not the it is not the dream is not the thing you see in the sleep, but it is a thing that doesn't let you sleep. By the Missile Man, that should be the motto when you are working. Do not, there are thousands of reasons not to work, and there is only one reason to work, that is passion. With this, again, bragging about my book, I call it off and pass the mic to the organizers.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Dr. Aman, for such lucid and concise presentation, which you have delivered through a wonderful oration. Thank you, sir. And there are a few doubts which are raised by a few of our participants. So Dr. Chinmay, he has asked, which charting system is best for comparative dental identification?
Which?
Charting system, sir, charting system.
See, it is when you give a when you give a report. Charting system, you mean the post-mortem, ante-mortem record, or what?
Yes, sir. Ante-mortem and post-mortem comparison.
Interpol system is there. Interpol system is there. You go anywhere beyond it, it will be a trouble, because there are devices which can read these charts. If you travel in Peru, they are using the same chart. If you travel in North America, South America, they are all using the same chart. Very important to learn that charting system. In Goa conference, I think there was a Dr. Samarika was kind enough to enlighten us with that. There is a special training which is there happening abroad as well as in India. Please go ahead and read about it. That is a chart which has to be learned, and it is very simple. It is not rocket science. If you're a plain dentist, if you're a clean dentist who has learned undergraduate properly, can really fill that chart.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. And then another question comes, which is the best method for dental age identification, dental age estimation?
Many of them are friends of mine. You're putting me in controversy, which is better, which is best. I, as a doctor, as a dentist, as an expert, I give an opinion only by 5-6 methods. Minimum 3 methods should be used when you are giving an opinion, and give a range. Don't, and mention, be safe. From Camry, I derived this. From Lamidin, I derived this. From Palatal ratio, I derived this. From Demergen, I derived this. From Dr. Priyanka's method, that is DACC chart, I derived this. Be clear about yourself, save yourself, and give the don't give your personal opinion. You just give a range that from this I derived this. Simple. It becomes very easy. You are safe.
Okay, sir. Dr. Tejavati, I hope your doubt is clear. Then Dr. Monica has raised a question. She has asked, is Gustafson's method accurate? And the 6 parameters which are associated with Gustafson's method, are they applicable in Indian population, sir?
Madam, I just highlighted the scope. If you talk about Bhubaneswar and the study is not done, and you're asking me, is it applicable in Bhubaneswar? It is impossible for me to comment. It is for you to really, that's why I said horizon is open. Gustafson was in 1960s, 70s. So it is strange that we have still not explored it. We can explore much, I will not say better, but much non-invasive methods, because Gustafson you require to pluck out the teeth and go for a grinding of it. Why not an image? Why not a radiograph? We can do it. So I recommend non-invasive. I'm a non-violent person. I would recommend a better thing where you do not damage the body. You will not be allowed to pluck a teeth from a dead body even. The medical officer will not let you touch. That's the problem. You don't go for an invasive process. You will not be allowed to work. Yes. If you get a tooth, maybe, premolars which orthodontist gifts you, maybe then, we might plan a study. But very difficult for a Gustafson to be activated in a population where, rights of dead are there.
In fact, those population-specific studies are lacking in India, which needs to be done so that it will be conclusive.
Of course, because
thank you, sir.
In the court of law, they will ask you. The prosecutor can really dodge you that this is European. Is there any formula like Dr. Ashit Acharya's application formula is there for age estimation through Demergen, which was rightly put in DACC chart by Professor Priyanka. So, mix and match, but you should have some scientific basis that have you done it on your own population or not. We are a very heterogeneous group. Again, maybe if I go towards the Assam side, it will be different. When I go to Karnataka, Kerala, it will be different. In Punjab side, it will be difficult because size is different, face are different, environment is different, food is different.
In fact, sir, you'll be happy to know that our department, before 2 years, one of our PG student, she had derived one Odisha specific formulation for age estimation.
I have read that article. It is.
Thank you, sir.
It was a PhD, I think it was an MDS thesis.
Yes. She's working as senior lecturer right now in our department also.
Oh, great.
So another question is, for a completely mutilated tooth or an edentulous body, which is the accurate method in the personal identification?
See, you're talking about the moment you take out all the teeth. He's saying no teeth are present.
Yes.
My half of the lecture was on craniofacial identification.
Skull, metric and non-metric evaluation of skull is the answer to the question, I guess, sir. Okay, sir. Then we'll proceed to another question, sir.
Skull profiling, ethnicity, age, and sex determination from skull.
Yes, sir. Both by metric approach as well as non-metric approach, sir.
Correct.
Then next is, sir, what are the artifacts in forensic odontology which comes to us during investigation?
What exactly?
And how we should rule out?
I am not. It is very vague question.
Artifacts, sir.
What kind of artifacts? Like what exactly mistake?
Radiological, sir. It may be radiological artifact. It may be histological artifact during forensic pathology.
See, when we talk about artifacts, that is a job of the prosecutor to find in your problem. I mean, like when we are doing, they will find like one of the artifact can be there is no data available, right? One artifact will be that you have applied data of a European population on an Indian population where the size is different, everything is. Then the artifact, what methodology was used? If you are using a digital X-ray and you are here using a manual, putting a tracing sheet on it and working on it, definitely artifact will be there. Then what kind of a technology you are using? There will be lots of, I will not call it an artifact, but I will say discrepancy because of same methodology is not followed. Like if I'm using a solution, a bromide solution for painting of lip print is there. The study was done in Norway where sun is there for 6 months only, and I do it in Delhi. I'm sure there will be some mistakes. There will be some different report which will be there. Same happens for the machines which are used for DNA as well. Though they are 100%, it is considered to be gold standard. But again, how much contamination was there? How the methodology took place? The blast took place in what method? So you have asked a very vague, broad question.
Yes, sir.
It can be a separate lecture of artifact, the problems faced by a forensic odontologist.
Maybe we'll arrange another lecture, sir. We would like to hear from you. This topic we would like to hear from you, sir.
Totally.
So then one more question, sir. Dr. Princey is asking, is there any particular course for forensic odontology where they can choose their specialization after BDS, sir? And they want to do it abroad, sir.
You can have a lot of things in your mind, but I should tell you the problems first. There are two things to be kept in mind. Dental Council of India does not recognize any course as such for MDS in forensic odontology as of now. As has been proposed, what is going on, that is a separate issue. But right now there is no MDS, but it has been introduced in curriculum in third year in oral pathology as well as in final year in oral medicine. So these two have shared the baby amongst themselves, and we are trying to till the time we have some experts there, and then maybe later on we start up with this. But you have to keep in mind vacancies are coming due to mass disasters, Red Cross, even as a forensic expert in forensic odontology expert in medical colleges. There are vacancies which are there, but they are very less in number. There are colleges which are opening, JSS Mysore. There are, I think, screen sharing is happening.
Yes, sir. I'm doing, sir.
Okay, please go ahead. You can play the.
Yes, sir. Please carry on, sir.
You can play the what the Microsoft PowerPoint.
Okay, sir. So thank you so much, sir. I would like to request our Dean ma'am to present this token of appreciation to you. Ma'am, Dean ma'am, over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, Dr. Aman, for this wonderful interactive session on forensic odontology. And we'd like to have you here someday to our institute. I'm sure it was very informative to our students and also to all the registered participants who are watching this. And I'm sure we'll be having a lot of research publications this year on forensic odontology with the number of parameters you have shown. I think even the undergraduates and PGs will come up with a lot of publications this year, I hope. Thank you so much, Dr. Aman. Thank you. It was wonderful having you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. And I would like to present a vote of thanks in a very short time. Most importantly, I would like to thank Dr. Manoj Ranjan Naik, founder president of Shiksha Anusandhan deemed to be University Bhubaneswar, for his ever encouraging support in conducting such academic extravaganza. Then I'd like to thank our Vice Chancellor, Dr. Ashok Mahapatra, for his continuous feedback on improvising such programs. I would like to thank our Dean and Head of the Department for her thorough support in facilitating this event. All my colleagues and postgraduate students have immensely helped in smooth performance of this event, for which I am thankful to them. And most importantly, Dr. Anurag Satpathy is a person who has carved this event from the niche to the present shape. And special thanks to Dr. Jagannath, who was a former PG student, for helping me whenever I asked him to help. Thank you so much. And most importantly, all the participants I am helping from core of my heart. Thank you so much. On behalf of oral pathology and microbiology, I am thankful to one and all who has joined in this platform. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Dr. Aman.
Thank you.
As ma'am said, another webinar we will be soon arranging, maybe with the topic of artifact. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.